Okay. Welcome to Laconia Pop's program, Build Language and Community through Read Aloud Book Clubs, where you will learn how to expand your English language learning programming even if you don't have educator training and don't have the budget to hire a specialist. My name is Courtney Tedrick. I'm the Community Engagement Department Head of Wheaton Public Library, and I'm the past president of Laconia Pop, POP standing for Programs, Outreach, and Promotion. Before we begin, I wanted to give a quick plug for Laconia's Help Directory. If you are a programmer or works with someone who hires presenters for library programs, I encourage you to check out Laconia's Help Directory. This is a directory that features library presenters who have been vetted with at least 2 positive professional references, and these are presenters for programs of all ages from youth to adult. And we will put that link in the chat in a moment, so be sure to check it out. For this afternoon's program, if you have questions for our presenters throughout the presentation, please drop them into the Q&A tab, as we will allow time for questions at the end of the presentation. We're also recording this program, and the link will be sent out shortly after. With that, let's get started. First up, we have librarians from Naperville Public Library. Chrissy Palankatiel is an adult services librarian with the Naperville Public Library. She has 20 years of experience in programming, leading book clubs, and advocacy for both patrons and staff. She's passionate about increasing access for underserved populations, which impacts everything she does, from creating displays, collection management, and launching and co-leading the ELL Read Aloud Book Club at NPL. Emily Wieshuber is a technology instructor at the Naperville Public Library, where she develops and implements programs that advance technology, literacy, and foster lifelong learning. She co-leads the ELL Read Aloud Book Club, creating an inclusive and supportive space for participants to build reading, confidence, and community. She holds a BA in elementary education from John Carroll University. Christy and Emily, take it away.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us today. I am just going to share our slides. My name is Christy Polingatl, and I am with the Naperville Public Library. I will be discussing Naperville's Read Aloud Book Club along with representatives from Addison, Palatine, and last of all, Yumaris Polanco Miller, who used to lead the club at White Oak. So why do this talk? There is an increased demand for English language learning or ELL programming at many of our libraries. But many libraries do not have staff dedicated to ELL programming and services, and many cannot afford to do so. Current library staff may not be trained as ELL teachers and may be intimidated and/or not have the time to obtain that training. For years at Naperville, we have had people come to the desk or call asking about English language classes and programs. Aside from the conversation clubs led by Literacy DuPage volunteers, we didn't have anything else for adults, and while we would have liked to offer more conversation clubs, we couldn't get more volunteers. We felt the need for ELL programming acutely, but also felt underqualified to lead anything since we didn't have a background in teaching English language learners. That changed after I attended a session at ILA in 2023 where the Addison and Palatine libraries talked about their Read Aloud book clubs. After hearing how they set up and ran their clubs, I felt like it was something that Naperville could do as well. That session was so enlightening for me that I thought others could benefit from a similar program as well. The presenters today represent a range of libraries and a variety of Read Aloud clubs. Naperville has over 153,000 people, and 26.9% speak a language other than English at home, according to census.gov. Addison has over 35,000 people, and 60.7% speak a language other than English at home. Palatine has over 65,000 people, and 36.6% speak a language other than English at home. White Oak serves the towns of Crest Hill, Lockport, and Romeoville. Crest Hill has over 20,000 people, and 26.4% speak a language other than English at home, Lockport has just under 27,000 people, and 13.8% speak a language other than English at home. Romeoville has over 41,000 people, and 40.2% speak a language other than English at home. So I think this illustrates the need for ELL programming in the Chicagoland area. As we proceed, it will be valuable to take note of the things that each library does similarly and the things that vary. Remember that you can modify your book club to meet your library's needs. And now, my coworker Emily Wieshuber and I will share how Naperville runs our English Read Aloud book club. Naperville's English Read Aloud book club has been active since March 2024. We meet 2 times a month on the first and third Tuesday of each month for 90-minute sessions that run from 10:30 a.m. to noon. We read one book for 3 months, so each book gets 6 sessions barring holidays. We divide the book into 6 parts and give the members the following schedule. Here is an example of the schedule we gave out for the current book we're reading. It's Trevor Noah, Born a Crime. We are fortunate to be able to offer this program with no registration. We have an intake form that lists the member's name, email address, country of origin, and main language they speak. This form is available at each session for new members and at the Adult Services Desk for people who inquire about the book club between sessions. We have library copies of the book available for checkout at the Adult Services Desk, and if someone fills out an intake form, the library book is checked out to them. Once a prospective member has come to one session and then returned, we give them a copy to keep and write in, and that's theirs. This is because we've begun running out of books, and we want to give the ones that can be written in to people who come back. Each session, we begin at the scheduled starting point and read until the session ends. It is up to the members to read the rest of the scheduled reading at home before the next meeting. Each person reads aloud an average of 1.5 to 3 pages at a time, and we tell them when to stop and let the next member begin reading. Each member usually gets 2 to 4 chances to read. We pause for questions, clarifications, and explanations, and frequently we spend time talking about cultural aspects that our members talk about.
How do we get a hold of our book club titles? We found that our current group does well with titles that are 200 to 300 pages. We look for high interest, low reading level titles, which has led to a mix of children's, teen, and adult titles. We've found the titles that resonate with our members include new experiences, coming of age, and cultural displacement. One of the lessons we've learned is that we need to read or skim an entire book before we select it. How to Pronounce Knife is a wonderful collection of immigrant stories. However, a few of the stories had frank depictions of sex, which were awkward to have to read aloud. In polling the group, we found they wanted to skip those stories, and we supplemented them with other short stories instead. We provided lexicons for those skipped stories so members could read them at home. This showed us that selecting titles for a read aloud book club is quite different than from a traditional book club. What support looks like. We give members a handout with word definitions for each scheduled reading. This also serves as scaffolding for independent reading. Additional handouts are given as topics arise from our sessions or in a language areas in which our members are clearly struggling. We tell members that they can email or call Christy or myself with any questions about the reading they do at home. This is an example from the book we are currently reading. You can see we select words and phrases that may be new, unfamiliar, slang, out of context, a metaphor, and idioms. What do support material examples look like? We have found or created handouts depending on areas where we see the group struggling. For example, we spent several weeks of members struggling with the -ed pronunciation. For example, call ed, jump ed, look ed, as opposed to called, jumped, looked. This handout has proved helpful, and we now provide it to all new members. Our handouts arise based on a need that we see as opposed to a prescribed curriculum. Since neither Christy nor I are trained ELL teachers, we depend on the group letting us know what they need, either verbally or through observation. Members are encouraged to email or call Christy or me with any questions. We emphasize that we are available in every email we send and every session we have. We email members the Friday before each session with a reminder and the reading notes attached. We also send a reminder email the evening prior. We have begun including short articles or information on upcoming observances, such as St. Patrick's Day, cultural nuances, such as sayings like April showers bring May flowers. Christy and I have made a point of being open with the group, sharing stories from our own lives, which in turn has helped them to open up and created a strong sense of community. And looking at our outcomes, we've observed several participants meeting up before and after class. They talk about their lives with one another. They share their triumphs and successes, and they nurture one another. We've lost 2 participants to new employment and another whose stated goal is to get a job at the library. Participants often share their reading and conversational successes. One of our members credited the book club for giving her the confidence to volunteer at her children's school. Not only did she volunteer, but she recently organized the school's staff Eid celebration. This was a large undertaking that she was clearly proud about and wanted to share with the group. We are also a safe space to ask questions about topics that may be too intimidating for regular conversation given the current political climate. Our club has grown from 2 members on average to 6 to 8 members attending each session.
Hey, thank you so much. One moment. Up next, we have Addison Public Library librarians. We have Anna Beltran. Anna Beltran is a dedicated adult services assistant at the Addison Public Library, where she coordinates English language learner programs. Her work is centered around creating safe and inclusive spaces for adults to practice their English skills while fostering a sense of community. With extensive experience as a dual language teacher assistant and school district interpreter and translator, Anna holds a strong foundation for supporting language learning. In 2024, Anna received the ILA Innovative Services Award for her ELL Books and Bites book club. She holds an Associate of Arts degree from College of DuPage, and to deepen her expertise in supporting English learners, she is pursuing a TESOL certificate from Harper College. Elizabeth Freebairn is an adult services specialist at the Addison Public Library, where she has spent over 3 years creating meaningful programming for her community. She leads the monthly book discussion group, co-facilitates Books and Bites, an ILA award-winning ELL book discussion group, assists with a Spanish conversation group, and helped found the library's genealogy club. Elizabeth holds a Master of Library Science from Dominican University, and her work experience spans roles from preschool aide to reference librarian in a special library. She credits her language skills for opening doors to a wide range of professional opportunities. With that, I will hand it over to you, Anna and Elizabeth.
Thanks, Courtney. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Anna, and I have been working at the Addison Public Library for about 4 years, and I manage the ELL programs here.
And I'm Elizabeth Freebairn, and I've also been working here for about 4 years, and I do the book discussion, book club, and genealogy clubs and other sort of library tasks.
A little bit of an overview about Books and Bites, which is what we chose to name our ELL book club. The book group began in May of 2023, and it is offered bi-monthly. We read one book over the span of 4 weeks, meeting once a week for an hour and a half. Our meetings are held on Thursday evenings from 6 to 7:30, and the book is provided to registrants upon sign up. They get to keep their book right from the beginning. And the group is usually limited to 6 participants plus Elizabeth and myself. Because the sessions meet during dinner time, we do offer pizza. It's always provided, and I think that's most of our favorite parts. And there is no required reading level or evaluation to join. Anybody who is interested and thinks they can do it are more than welcome to join.
So the day of the session, we order the pizza and we set up our meeting space. The tables are arranged in a circle so we can all see one another, and that adds to our, ability to have a good discussion. As participants arrive, we welcome them and offer them pizza and drinks. And we spend about 15 to 20 minutes having a casual conversation while people sort of eat and get settled. We ask them how they are, how their day is going, just to aid in sort of creating a sense of community. And I think that's a great starting point.
Yes. After that, we spend the next 30 minutes discussing the reading that they do on their own at home, on their own time. We get the reactions to the reading, any connections to the characters or the book experiences, and a handout with discussion questions or chapter summaries may also be used during this time. But a lot of the times they have so many things they want to talk about that we don't need discussion questions. They kind of like lead the discussion themselves. Again, talking about things that they connected to in the book or any characters that they related to. But this is also the part where we check in on their comprehension and make sure that they understood what they read or explain anything that they might be confused about. And it's really interesting and amazing to see how they help each other out as well. It's not always just Elizabeth and I kind of explaining something that they might not have understood. A lot of the times it's them jumping in and walking each other through something they might not have understood. This is where we also take the opportunity to remind participants that grasping the bigger picture is more important than understanding every single little detail. That's something that we really try to remind them and encourage them to keep in mind as they are reading the book. And then during the last 30 to 35 minutes is where participants take the opportunity to read 1 to 2 pages out loud. And after the 1 to 2 pages, we stop and kind of check in again and ask if there's any pronunciation questions or any vocabulary questions, and have maybe like a mini conversation about what we just read in the last 1 or 2 pages. And then from there, once everybody has a turn, usually our time is up and it's getting closer to 7:30. So then we kind of wrap up and assign the next reading for the following week. Elizabeth and I sometimes take a turn reading, but typically we try to let them be the ones who read aloud. But I think they do appreciate one of us reading because they are also exposed to our pronunciation. So every once in a while, Elizabeth or I will read. And that's usually what a typical session looks like for us.
So when we're preparing for Books and Bites, Anna and I choose the book and we order the copies that we need. When we're looking for books, we just want to make sure that the language is accessible. Sometimes we'll get a YA copy of something. We also did the Trevor Noah book and used the YA,
the young
readers version, because it was sort of a little more accessible. We want to sort of evaluate what the book is about. Is it relevant to our audience? And is it something that we can discuss? One of the things we try to sort of focus on is this a contemporary book? We like to have sort of things that are more relevant to this sort of world we live in. The books that we give to the participants come out of the adult services programming budget. And Anna and I check the books out from our local libraries or from here. We also have to adjust our schedules to be here on Thursday evenings because our schedules are a little bit different. So we just need to make sure of that. If we need to, we create chapter summaries or a vocabulary list or even discussion questions on occasion. We also decide how much we're going to read. It's usually about 50 pages, but not necessarily. We also promote the program and register patrons. And we have reminder emails that are sent out to previous participants just in case they lost track of things. And on the day of the program, we do order the pizza beforehand so that it's ready when they arrive.
Yes, our first book that we read in May of 2023 was How Not to Drown in a Glass of Water by Angie Cruz. And this first session was a group of women, and this book really worked out great because the women in the group really connected to the protagonist's experience of being an older woman searching for a job during a time where technology and just the world in general is rapidly changing. So that really helped us to have a really engaging conversation. And I think it was a great book to start off with. I'm really happy we went with that one. It's about 190 pages long, which has been one of our shorter books, but I think because it was the first session, it worked out really well. And for this book, we did offer a Spanish and English vocabulary list, just because the book did have a lot of Spanish words throughout, and not everybody that participated in this book club was a Spanish speaker. So yeah, I'm really happy that we chose How Not to Drown in a Glass of Water by Angie Cruz.
So this is a list of some of the other books that we've read. As you see, there's a lot of different genres and reading levels. Some are very popular culture and some not so much. But we do try to choose diverse titles and sort of, as I said, different genres.
Yeah, we did read some Frida McFadden, and they really enjoyed The Perfect Son. But by the second book of hers that we read, they were over her. They were like, okay, no more Frida McFadden. Yeah.
Moving on.
So our why. So we actually started Books and Bites because of a patron who confused summer reading. They thought that summer reading was a book club, that they read the book over the summer and then participated in a book club. And they told me that as an English learner, they wanted to give it a try. So then, we kind of listened to the patrons' needs and created this Books and Bites ELL book group. And our goal is to continue to connect our ELL patrons to more traditional library activities. So with Books and Bites, it gives us the opportunity to learn and eventually graduate, if you will, to traditional activities, such as the traditional discussion group that Elizabeth leads. It was also created to support language learners that were looking for more opportunities to build their vocabularies and to practice their reading and comprehension skills. And of course, Books and Bites helps us expand the variety of programs that we offer here in support of our English learners. And finally, the program helps us to foster lifelong learning and literacy, which is an important part to our library's mission.
So some of the things that have worked really well is giving the patrons the book. I think it's wonderful because they're able to annotate it and keep it to reread. We do have patrons sign up beforehand, so many of them are now starting to have like a library of books that they've read with us, and it just allows them to take notes and reread the titles. Reading contemporary novels has helped participants really feel connected to the people around them in the community. One participant sort of told us that she was excited to learn that she was reading the same book as their adult grandchild. Another thing that has been really helpful is making sure that we have access to the book in e-audio format. Participants really like listening to the book while they're reading it. It helps them understand pronunciation and maybe helps them read along with it. I think that's a great thing to do. And this combination of discussion and taking turns reading has been great structure, and we intend to continue that.
We have had some challenges, and it can be difficult for us to select the correct number of pages as the assigned reading for them to do on their own time, simply because people are busier than others. So even if we are to assign 10 pages, one week one participant could be really busy and they won't get to it. Other weeks we can assign 50 pages and they're all done with the reading by the time the next session meets. So it's a little difficult sometimes to select the correct number of pages for the assigned reading. It can also take us a while to find the correct books for Books and Bites, just because we do have a few regular patrons with very different genre tastes, and we want to make sure that we're choosing the correct book for the group. Choosing a book with multiple timelines proved to be very confusing for the group. For example, with the Library of Borrowed Hearts, we had to start a chart to help keep track of the characters and the timelines. So we probably won't be choosing another book with multiple timelines. And the program time is too early for some parents, but we do allow them to come and join later if it's possible for them to do so. So even though our program starts at 6, some of them might come in at like 6:15, 6:30, and that is more than okay.
And so one of the things we're really excited about is that for our next session, we'll be reading John Grisham and Jim McCloskey's Framed, in May. The traditional book group is also reading that book, but in June. So we have invited the ELL book discussion participants to come to the regular book discussion group in June after we've discussed it as in the ELL Books and Bites. We'll invite them to come in and discuss it with the traditional group, just sort of getting fostering that sense of community in Addison, and hopefully that'll be a great experience.
Yeah, they seem very excited about that opportunity. And I think it'll be helpful for them to feel comfortable joining the discussion group once we've already gone through it together. With that being said, if you have any questions for us, please don't hesitate to reach out. We'd be more than happy to share our thoughts on the other books that we've done. Other than that, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll pass it on to the next library.
Thank you so much, Anna and Elizabeth. That was wonderful. Up next, we have Palatine Public Library. We have Anna Golash. She is an Associate 2 at Palatine Library, where she has been involved with ESL programs for over 7 years. Initially, she assisted in running the ESL Conversation program, but since 2020, she has been planning the program independently. In 2022, along with Christina Michael, she started a book club titled ESL Read Together for ESL learners. In 2023, she and Christy Michael presented the ESL Read Together concept at the ALA conference in Springfield, Illinois. She holds an MA degree in Slavic languages from UIC and a TESOL certificate from Harper College. We also have Christy Michael, Library Associate 2. She has been employed by the Palatine Library District for 8 years. She oversees the book club in a bag service, leads a monthly senior storytime program in the community, and facilitates ESL conversation and book club programs. She also curates book displays on healthy living, manages the passive learning space, provides reference services at the public desk, and serves as a notary. Anna and Christy, take it away. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Courtney. Thank you for having us. Let me see. Okay. All right. So thank you for having us. We are going to maybe speak briefly on how our book club helps build language and community at the Palatine Library. Yeah, so let's talk about it. We're going to go through a few things with you today. But basically, we want to talk about the benefits of reading out loud. And as you can see, lastly, how we're evolving. Okay, our library and our community. So the Palatine Library District has an EDI statement. We are learning and listening. Let's build a better future together. And I think that pertains greatly to our ESL Read Together book club.
I'm so sorry to interrupt, but there is a little Zoom box in your screen share. Not sure if you, there you go. Thank you so much.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. Okay, so our goal in our ESL Read Together team, which we like to welcome everybody and let them know this is a non-threatening environment. And we want everybody to know that we're friends here, and we hope that they enjoy it and it's fun, and that they make new friends coming out of our Read Together club. So we will be referring to our readers as friends very often in this presentation. Okay, so there's a lot of benefits of reading aloud, and some of them may be very obvious to all of us who have attended book clubs like that, or already organized book clubs like that. So we listed some of those for you. But I wanted to mention one that I also that was part of my experience as an English learner and trying to read books in English by myself. I felt very isolated. I thought that it was only me struggling with this book, and after trying to read 2 pages and explain every word on a page, I gave up. And it was a very discouraging experience. So by reading in a group, we want to create an atmosphere and an environment for our readers to be open to asking questions, to see that others are struggling with the same things that they are. So as you can see here in the backdrop of this is one of our Read Together book club, where we always have slides that we put together, and you can see in the background, this is the first slide that we put together, but it includes a packet of information, which it'll state information about the author, additional books that author may have written, as well as a timeline of where we're going to start and where we're going to complete. And we always do our final session together, always includes discussion questions, as well as we've also incorporated having movies that align with the books that we're reading. So selecting books, how do we do that? We've learned over time how things work well. Our first book was Wonder, which was a good start for our group because it was an easier read.
but it also allowed everyone to get an opportunity to read. And also, we learned from that book because it showed us where people were at and how we could move forward. So when we're trying to determine where we're going to get our books, we use the consortium we're part of, or if we need to go and get additional books that may be only available as an ILL, we do that as well. We've also moved to purchasing books, and we give them to all of our readers that join our club. And we usually don't do a book that's a new release. We tend to use books that have been around for a period of time.
Maybe to add to this, we have a volunteer who always is with one of us at the book club. She is a retired English teacher, and she has some great suggestions. The books that she has read with the students. So we sometimes use her suggestions. Sometimes we ask a youth librarian for recommendations. So reading, we know that reading something that's a little bit challenging will build comprehension. You can see some of the things that we do to help our friends build that comprehension. Since we have the computer and we have the screen, we can always look up a word or an image that's something that's hard to understand, so they can we can project it on the screen so they can have a definition and then also a vocabulary illustrated. We have introduced something called mini summaries of the chapters. Let me show you what they look like. So the Kill a Mockingbird was a difficult read for our group. And so these kind of summaries of chapters help them keep track of what's going on. And you can see that we also introduce the characters that are in the book. And so that they found it really helpful. So now we do it for every book.
Mm-hmm. And based on that, To Kill a Mockingbird was a choice that our book club friends suggested we read. So we found it very interesting that they picked that book.
Mm-hmm. Maybe to add to this, thank you, Christy. We do not create lists of vocabulary for our readers. We explain vocabulary at the program, but we encourage them to have journals when they read books, and then explain some vocabulary or write down the things that are difficult, and to bring questions to the following session. Okay, so how do we create this community of readers, of friends? First of all, our Read Together book club is modeled on a community book club. We observe that the participants socialize outside of the program. They go for coffee very often. What they also do, which is interesting for us, if they would connect something that's in the book to something in their culture. And then it tells us that they're involved in the reading, and they make it their own. We recently read a play, Rabbit Hole, and that was a very interesting experience. We were not sure how it's going to go. Because we have, you have different characters reading at the same time. We have never done this before. But surprisingly, they were volunteering to read different characters. So we had a true group reading during that program. One of our members has recently transitioned to our traditional adult book club. And she even used idiom saying that she wants to step outside her comfort zone when she did that.
We also have a book club friend who has started her own book club within her group of friends, and she's modeled it around our Read Together book club, where where the members that participate get a chance to read. So they go around the table, and each person takes a turn reading, similar to the Read Together book club here at Palatine. Okay, so we are evolving, and I think that's what's so exciting about this program is that we've learned so much from our book club friends as well as trial and error. So we have a set of ground rules that we share with the members each time, and our ground rules look like what you see here on this screen, where everybody's invited to read, but they don't have to. If they don't feel comfortable, maybe at first they don't have to, or not. But usually, people that come do want to read, and so they read a page or two, and we let them know that if they want to finish a little early, they just raise their hand and say, "I'm done," and we move on to the next person. And we mentioned earlier that our first book was Wonder, and the book talks about precepts. And precepts, as you know, are lessons for life. So we always try to bring that concept into each one of our book clubs so that we can talk about how that pertains to their life. And it brings up a lot of good discussion.
We have introduced our friends to a variety of genres. We had just contemporary fiction. We had YA, historical fiction. We had the fable. We had the Little Prince. Historical. We had nonfiction. Recently, we read The Boys in the Boat. I don't know if the camera is picking up the book. Um, and of course the play. So for the play was like a experiment, I would say. So our volunteer created this structure for our readers to help them follow the play, and then during reading, we kept asking them, do you think there was an exciting incident? Do you think the action is rising right now? And they were pretty good at guessing these moments in the play.
So how do we continue to build language and community? Well, we try to be consistent and to stay curious. And we want everybody to feel proud of where they've started and how much progress they've made. We always try to make it fun. And so we learn English together is our motto, and we help each other feel comfortable. Everyone is kind, so readers feel more confident. We listen to each other and share ideas.
Yeah, and we welcome everyone. So thank you so much. If you have any questions for us, you can email us at the Palatine address. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anna and Christy. So our last presenter for this afternoon is Yamaris Palenco Miller. Yamaris is a Spanish English speaker and a Dominican American librarian. She enjoys providing the best experience to patrons and fellow coworkers, connecting people with resources and creating valuable partnerships and collaborations. She holds an MIS degree from the University of Puerto Rico. She develops and implements services rooted in diversity, equity, and inclusion, bringing nuances that get lost and are usually not represented in library programs and collections. I will hand it over to you, Yumaris. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. Let me share my presentation. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you everyone that made this presentation possible. Thank you to the White Oak Library District, to Lakanai, to SSIP, and to the Yale Junior College. I will present the ESL Reading and Conversation Group and untraditional, unconventional, and unstructured approach that is based on my personal experience and our volunteers that came to the rescue and shape what that group looked like today. Let me start with the concept. Like all the previous presenter, the ESL group is a safe, judgment-free environment for learner of English to practice alongside other learners in a very safe, not judgmental space. It's an instructor in the sense that the only thing guaranteed in this group is that they will read and speak English. It's untraditional because it doesn't follow the classroom setting type of a group or a ESL class. If just go organically. And it's unconventional because it's based, as I mentioned before, on my personal experience learning English solo in the East Coast 13 years ago, plus the trials and error that the volunteers were able to, with my recommendation, move along and become what's actually it's taking place, the dynamic currently happening now in the club. The schedule and frequency at the beginning, they were meeting just once a month. I was leading the group because that's the only time I was able to staff. Then the volunteers came to the rescue and we met once a week, 2 hours, and then we end up meeting twice a week for 2 hours each session. They meet Tuesdays and Fridays from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Now I'm gonna share how we got here. Building community. It's as a new immigrant myself, because I still consider myself a new immigrant, building community is very important. Learners and immigrants seek the library, take the initiative to look after themselves. So when we couldn't offer any ESL classes at the White Oak Library District, I took the time to create a list of all the learners that were coming with questions, looking for ESL offerings, and we could not offer any. I share with them that if they give me the information, I will be reaching out as soon as we start offering an ESL group or class. Then I also help the ones that were just looking in particular with the ESL offering because they were looking to get prepared for the citizenship test and interview. And also I added those to the list and connected them with the organization that could help them to get this preparation. Also, I got referrals by emails, by phone, which I made sure I reach out to them within 48 hours. And also, while we weren't offering anything in our branches, I created a list of the nearby low-cost ESL offerings, including GED and also immigration services. Then another part of building community was the volunteers. We got a lot of requests from the community to volunteer in our libraries, and one of those volunteered too, very, very much interest in this group and join the group, and with another volunteer, then they try and error and they shape the dynamic of the group. Those volunteers build trust and create a safe environment for our learners. And now here we are. We are going to share with you before moving to this slide that all our ESL learners do enjoy coming to the group. They have a very strong bond with the volunteers and the library staff tend to the ESL group. Also, volunteers are all trained with the Illinois Secretary of State of Illinois ESL tutoring, the tutoring training, which is a very important one to give you a perspective of how to teach and how to lead a ESL group, which is very different to leading one that is just for children. What's at work? I will say we basically have a laptop with access to internet, and the staff set up the laptop and the projector. A volunteer comes and logging into the Libby browser version, open library, Friday Digest, and then open the articles they're gonna read. So then after that, the volunteer will read the article and then we'll ask if they have any questions about any words or any meanings. And then one of the learners will read the article again, the paragraph again, excuse me. And then they will go and do that until the article is read. In every time that they read one paragraph, though, they will discuss the meaning of the paragraph overall, so toward the comprehensive part of the reading. Also, when they don't feel like reading an article from Reader Digest or the Woman's World magazine or any other source, they will do icebreakers, they will do games, they will do short books, they will play loteria. And when the library is closed on one of the days that they meet, they will also go to a restaurant together. And in one occasion, they went to a Vietnamese restaurant, and one of the learners was able to do a presentation about the food and everything that they were eating in English, with something that learner felt very proud of. They also talk about holidays and celebration. They do also birthday parties. And they, usually the conversation is organically taking place between the reading, the looking at the word in the dictionary, or just discussing the meaning of the paragraph. What didn't work? We try having the printed book and an e-audio book at the same time, listening and reading. So they will be reading the book and they will be listening to the audiobook. And we tried that for about 2-3 months, and that didn't work. They will do that at home as well. We also tried to read the ebook text and the audiobook at the same time with the computer and the projector again. That also didn't go well. In Hoopla particularly, this is easy because it lets you open the text version and the audio version in 2 different browsers, and it's really nice because you can just follow along. And then we also try some YouTube videos. Now, what do you need? So in summary, what do you need to run a ESL reading group like this? It's learners and volunteers, which you gain by making sure that you follow up with them, that you take care of them, that you offer them library tours, that you make sure that they feel welcome to the library. And the volunteers, but just finding a wonderful option for them to volunteer, in this case, the ESL reading and conversation group. Library staff, because usually the technology part, which is optional, by the way, you need a staff to set up that laptop and that projector. But if you don't want to use the laptop and projector, you can just get the article or the reading source, make sure that you make copies for everybody, including the volunteer, and you will be able to read just the same way, just not projected in a big screen. You need a space that is able to hold between 12 to 25 in this case, because a lot of the time when they do the birthday celebration or the holidays, usually family members will come and join to celebrate with them. You will need a library card to log in Hoopla and Libby, which we set up one for that purpose in the library. And then you need icebreakers and games and you don't need miscellaneous items like erasers, erasable markers, and a whiteboard. Now I'm gonna move on to the success story. We have many successful stories with this ESL reading and conversation group. And one of the most compelling ones is that one of the learners is actually joining force with one of the volunteers to help another learner, which is in the very beginning, to learn English. So they both work together to help this one-on-one patron, which is a very, very beginner learner. Another successful story is that one of the learners was so excited to share with us that they were finally able to call the doctor's office and talk to the doctors and talk to the staff about their next appointment, and answer questions without any assistance from any family member, which is a very, very a big accomplishment. The last one that I'm going to share today is that one of our learner, it's also coming only one session at a time now because she got a job in a store and she can only speak English, and went through the process, just the interview and everything, and just in English. And she was very happy and very proud because it's her first job ever in which she had to only speak English. Then my last part of the presentation is that I want to say thank you so much for the opportunity to share here the experience of the ESL Reading and Conversation Group. Thank you so much to everyone that put this group together to share these experiences, and to the White Oak Library District and staff and volunteers, Chile Junior College, Department of Adult Education and Literacy, Southwest Suburban Immigrant Project, which is the organization that I refer the learners that are looking into preparing for citizenship, and the Lakanai. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Yumeris. If anyone has any questions for any of our presenters, we do have some time for Q&A, so please put your questions into the Q&A tab below, or you can put it in the chat and we will keep an eye out for that as well. So our first question is, not having an ESL background myself, how would you all deal with any participants who perhaps would benefit from learning more of the basics or fundamentals of the English language a bit more? Would you direct them to local classes, books in your collection, or a specific e-resource? The ideas for building comprehension are great. Thank you.
I will say I don't necessarily have the answer for this, but I know we have had a range of the people who come for our group have a range of abilities, including someone who comes every month to the Read Aloud Book Club and then has also joined our regular book club, and she loves doing both. But we have had some people that are clearly struggling, and we never say that they can't. We just we have them usually read for shorter periods of time. We try and help with pronunciation. We stop and start. What I will say is the group is really good at coming around and trying to provide support to the people who are struggling more, both before and after. Emily and I will see them talking to newcomers, encouraging them to come back. We will see them talking about other opportunities in the area for learning English. And that's not something we're doing. It's just something that's happening within the group. And from what other people are saying, I feel like the same type of thing is happening in other groups. So it sort of feels like if you provide the space, sort of like Field of Dreams, if you build it, they will come. The people are coming and they are building community themselves, and supporting one another. So that's not necessarily a straight answer, but I hope it helps.
Yeah, and also something that we do is if somebody wants to participate, but maybe they're not there yet, we always encourage them, like, maybe right now you should focus on taking like English classes with the College of DuPage. And then once you have a little bit of vocabulary, come on back and maybe do our conversation group and get a little bit more practice with that. And then join our reading circle where we read short articles. And then maybe from there you go to Books and Bites. So we give them a few options that they can do like in the community and then also at the library.
I would say we do exactly the same thing, which is refer them to different options in the community, like the junior college classes. So basically, we basically do the same thing.
Okay. I see we have one more question. How do you all recruit your participants?
I would say the way you recruit participants for a group like this in particular, at least in the demographic that I was able to help, it's just you just do it as it comes. So in our case, we're 2 years past before we were able to provide an ESL conversation group. So what we did was just take the time to compile all that information, their name, last name, email, phone number. And when we were able to start the group, we just reached out to them. Then those were referring that services to other people, and then they will find us online. They will find us through the Joliet Junior College adult education services. They will find us through our partners with SSIP, so Suburban Immigrant Project. So I will think you just try to collect that information, and when the right time comes, just reach out to them, and they will be back.
I mentioned in our presentation that every week we have people either coming to the desk or calling us and asking, what English classes we offer. And we don't have specific English classes at Naperville, but we have the conversation groups and we have the Read Aloud Book Club. And so when somebody comes by with that question, we make sure to tell them about it. I think Christy Michael also said you can promote it with the conversation groups, which when this first started, that is something we did also. We let the conversation groups know, hey, we're starting this. But at this point, it's just people searching for ELL programs. They ask us about it or they look online and they find us.
And I'd like to add that, we started small. We started with like 2 people coming regularly, and that has now grown to, having anywhere from around 8 or so coming regularly every week, of maybe 10 or 12 people who come. It takes time, it takes dedication, but once we got it rolling, it kind of took care of itself.
Yeah, we
Um,
definitely promote our Books and Bites book group with our other ELL programs. So the reading circle, the conversation group. I've also asked College of DuPage at some point to come in and mention the programs that we offer at the library and kind of recruit that way. But a lot of our participants are returners that just come back session after session. Yeah.
But I think you're right, the word of mouth, people hear about it and they, sort of come.
Yes.
Yeah, we always say bring a friend. If you have a friend who is too shy to come, you two can come together. But promotion of a program is always a tricky thing. Some things may work, some other things don't. We have a flyer for a conversation program with a QR code that takes them to the page where both programs are listed. So reading, the read together and conversation. So they can sign up for both. And we share this flyer wherever at community events, at schools, outreach. You can take the flyer and share it with the parents.
At each service desk, we also have an ESL folder, which goes into a lot of detail about the programs as well as our newsletter and things that are happening in the community related to ESL.
Excellent. Thank you all so much. I don't see any more questions in the Q&A, so I think that's a good place to stop. Thank you so much for taking the time to provide this very, very helpful information. Thank you, Christy and Emily. Thank you, Yamaris. Thank you, Anna and Elizabeth. Thank you, Christy and Anna, so much. And as I said, we will be sending out the recording of this program and hopefully the slides as well, probably within a week or so. So check out the Lakonai Help Directory. And on behalf of Lakonai Pop, thank you so much. Everyone have a wonderful day. Thank you.